here is the news. Well, it used to be the news, of course, but the news has now all changed, hasn't it? The way we consume news, I love that expression, don't you, is a totally different thing. Now, I don't know about you, but I still like reading books, proper not hardback, but, proper books, as it were. There's nothing nicer if you can borrow it from a library as well, because then you don't incur the charges. But it's nice sitting down with a book, isn't it, in a chair, having a cup of tea, just relaxing. It's not the same holding, in my opinion, the iPad or whatever and trying to read it. I don't think that's good for your eyes, by the way. You know what I'm saying? But it's interesting to note also that a 200-year-old tradition here in the very heart of London is about to expire. And this is all down to, well, you and me, apparently, as ever. Let me explain. Hi, good to see you. You all right? Not bad, thank you. Yes. Now, listen, let me ask this question, because do you still buy a newspaper or do you read one? Over here, we still have a free newspaper called the Metro, and it's given out on buses and tubes and stuff like that. And, really, it's not a bad read when you flick through it, but you wouldn't really take it home. It's more of a snooze paper rather than a newspaper, because everything is, literally a day old. That's mainly because, of course, they've cut down all the professional staff, and now it's all literally clicked off websites and reprinted, so you can understand why it doesn't have that vested interest for people. But now, after 200 years over here in the middle of our wonderful capital, the London Evening Standard is to cease printing its daily edition. And apparently they're only going to be doing a weekly roundup newspaper that you'll be able to pick up, we think, in tube stations and on buses. Now, apparently this is all because many people now working from home don't come in on the tubes, the buses, less demand for it, all that sort of stuff. What do you think? My advice would be simply this: it's just been run to the ground. It's currently Russian owned. They have no idea really what the Londoners want to read about, and that's really the bottom line. A succession of failed editors have made sure that they've taken huge salaries but been unable to interact with the many commuters, the Londoners, as it were, that really wanted to read a nightly newspaper. On top of that, if you remember this, about a month ago we told you about the current editor, Dylan Jones, who basically put the death knell into this establishment, as it were, by saying he hadn't picked up a newspaper in so many years, never reads it, would only read something online, making sure, of course, that he's kicked off all the staff that have worked very hard under him so far. Lots of redundancies, they didn't see it coming, and now apparently it will just be an online source. Now, when you think about it, yes, it didn't have too much influence, but it's always a shame, isn't it, when you see a once much loved brand going under forever. And when you think about how capital city, isn't it a shame that we don't have this power to be able to sustain something that has gone on for so long? Is it a shame that the death of the nightly newspaper has now gone away? Will you miss it if you live here in London? Or indeed, did you stop picking it up years ago when it became incredibly woke and patronising? You know what I'm saying. Either way, I'd love to know what you think to this particular story in the comments below. And do let me know, do you still buy newspapers and magazines? I would, but I do genuinely find them very expensive and absolutely not worth it because they're just full of adverts. That's just my opinion. What's yours? Let me know in the comments below. And as ever, please do like and share. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.